The final map for Black Ops 6 Zombies is dropping in less than 24 hours, and before that happens, I want to take a second and talk about Shattered Veil. This map honestly deserves way more appreciation than it's getting. It is one of the strongest maps in Black Ops 6, and there is a lot to love about it. So before we all dive into the next and final chapter of Black Ops 6 Zombies, let's take a look back at what made Shattered Veil such a good map. Let's start with the Easter egg. This quest nails that classic vibe. It feels like something straight out of BO1 or BO2. It's straightforward, fun to complete with friends, and keeps you engaged the whole way through. I do wish it had just a few more steps. It ends a bit quicker than I'd like, but what's there is honestly great. What really sets it apart are the liminal space sequences. These surreal areas give the Easter egg such a unique identity. Each one comes with its own little objective, and it adds so much to the pacing and the atmosphere of the map. Then at the end of every liminal space sequence, you have the sacrifice step, which is such a cool little nod to Shadows of Evil. It's small details like that that give the map an extra bit of charm. Next, I want to talk about the map layout and size. The map itself is also one of the better ones when it comes to map size and layout. Compared to the Tomb, Liberty Falls, and even Citadel de Mor in some cases, this one actually feels big. Those other maps never really gave you room to breathe, whether it was due to cluttered design or just straight up small scale. Shattered Veil does not have that problem, but at the same time, it is filled with tight, confined areas, which is something we barely see anymore. It brings back that high stakes, close quarter tension without feeling cheap or crammed. You're not just running in open circles the whole game. You've got to think about positioning, movement, and pathing, and that is a good thing. Now let's talk about wonder weapons, because this map is stacked. First, you've got the Ray Gun Mark II and its 3 variants, each with their own strengths and weaknesses. The blue full auto variant is the clear standout. This thing melts through enemies and feels insanely satisfying to use. It's honestly almost a bit too good. It's very overpowered. It is by far the best of the 3, however. Then you have the yellow DMR style variant, and to me, this is probably the weakest of the 3. It's okay, but it doesn't quite hold up compared to the others, especially considering its extremely slow fire rate. The purple shotgun variant is decent. It's not as strong as the blue one, but it has a solid niche in tight areas, and it is a very fun weapon to use. What I really love about these wonder weapons is that you actually have to earn them. The steps to get the ray gun variants aren't just handed to you. They have some challenge to them and actually feel rewarding. You don't just pick it up and go. That's a big win for the map's design. Then there's the Wonderwaff DG2. It's back, but it's not the star of the show, and it's not even required for the main Easter egg. Still, the side quest to get it is surprisingly challenging, and finally unlocking it feels like a real achievement. Now on to the new enemies Shattered Veil introduced. The Disciple is probably one of my favorite mini bosses in the game. He's tough but not annoying, and the way he impacts the enemy spawn rate is a really smart touch. If you kill him fast, you don't get slammed with a bunch of special enemies, but if you ignore him, the pressure builds fast. That is a great risk-reward system, and that rewards smart play. Also, the new toxic zombies that show up during special rounds are legitimately a highlight of the map. They're strong, aggressive, and can catch you off guard if you're not paying attention, but it never feels unfair. It just keeps you on your toes. This map also brought back a fan favorite perk, Double Tap, and honestly, it is very, very good, and I would even say it is the best perk in the game. It makes every gun feel good. Even stuff that normally feels mid becomes viable with Double Tap active. It gives that classic boost in power that makes you feel like you're actually progressing. It's such a simple addition, but it changes the entire flow of a match. It makes weapons feel punchy, and it makes early rounds way more enjoyable when you finally get your setup going. I want to dedicate a whole section of this video to the Z-Rex boss fight because it deserves so much credit. This thing is intense. It really tests your movement, your positioning, your awareness, everything. The difficulty is very high, and it feels like a proper final challenge. But here is the thing, it's not perfect. Sometimes the Z-Rex almost feels unfair. He moves so fast to the point where you can barely outrun him in certain situations. It's one of those fights that is fun once you learn the patterns, but frustrating until you do. Still, I'd rather have a very hard boss fight than a forgettable one. I do wish they would have made him just a tiny bit slower, but overall, he is still one of the top bosses in the game and one of the top bosses of all time. Let's talk about the cutscenes and, more importantly, Richtofen. These are easily the best cutscenes in the game, and that is entirely because of Richtofen. Every time he shows up, he completely steals the scene. It's like the second he speaks, the whole tone of the game changes. The writing, the delivery, it's all top tier. The rest of the cast, though, they honestly suck. Maya and Gray don't even have a single line, and Carver and Weaver barely say anything interesting. It feels like the writers just gave up on them at this point. I really hope we get Primus back in Black Ops 7 because I cannot take this cast anymore. They're just boring. They're just too uninteresting. And Richtofen is by far carrying the cast. All right, next I want to talk about the atmosphere of this map. And if there's one area where Shattered Veil falls a bit flat, it's got to be the atmosphere. It's not bad, but it's not amazing either. It's better than Liberty Falls for sure, but it doesn't come close to what Terminus pulled off. Yes, it does feel like there's been a zombie outbreak there and it's all dirty and torn up, but I don't know. I just wish they could have did something a little extra with this map. Overall, I would say the atmosphere is not the strongest, but it is good enough. The music, however, is exceptional. This map has one of the best Easter egg songs in the game so far, and I cannot wait to see what the final Easter egg song is going to be, because every song, except for Dig, in my opinion, Dig is kind of horrible. Every Easter egg song in this game has been incredible, minus Dig, of course, because that song sucks. Shattered Veil also probably has the worst side Easter egg selection in the entire game of Black Ops 6. I mean, every single side Easter egg is just something we've seen before rehashed, or a big side Easter egg that you think leads up to something great, and then it leads up to an anticlimactic ending that really is underwhelming in every single way. The main culprit of this is the fog Easter egg. This Easter egg is so convoluted and complex, which is a good thing, except the reward is genuinely terrible. The steps for this Easter egg starts with finding a very tiny small vermin. Then you have to place the vermin on a tray in the mainframe chamber part of the map. Then you have to find this sign outside of the map that correlates to what tiny little bottles you need to shoot. Then you need to shoot those bottles in the right order. And by the way, if you mess up one single step of this Easter egg, you have to completely restart your game because you cannot do the Easter egg again. Once you shoot the bottles in the right order, you have to pick up the vermin and then put it in a microwave. Yes, I am serious. You put the vermin in a microwave. Once the vermin is fully microwaved, you go back downstairs and you put the vermin into a puddle of blood by the pack-a-punch machine. Then you need the Wonder Waff, so you have to go through that whole quest of getting the Wonder Waff or get really box lucky. You have to shoot a fan with the Wonder Waff that will suck the vermin into it. Then you have to go outside of the mansion and every chimney on the mansion will be smoking red. Then you have to get a chopper gunner and you have to shoot every single chimney on top of the mansion. Then after a couple seconds of shooting all the chimneys, the entire map gets a huge layer of fog applied to it. It looks like you're playing Transit, and a couple ether crystals spawn in. And that is the entire Easter egg. It is so over complex for the horrible reward that it gives. It's not like these ether crystals are like supercharged and give you great loot. No, these just give you like salvage, and you might get lucky with a free perk. Like, it's actually horrible. I cannot believe that they went through the entire process of making the Easter egg. They even recorded voice lines from Strauss. They went through the whole entire process to make this Easter egg for that reward. It should have been a better reward. Could you imagine if you got like Wraith Fires or a Homunculus or any kind of unique special item similar to the golden armor in the tomb? That would have been a great side Easter egg. Instead, they made this horrible side Easter egg that nobody ever wants to do. I personally will never do the side Easter egg as a boycott because I am not participating in a side Easter egg that bad for a reward that bad. If it's that complex, which is good in my opinion, I like the complexity of it, it needs to have a good reward, in my opinion. So yeah, Shattered Veil isn't a perfect map. The atmosphere is a bit bland, the cast is forgettable outside of Richthofen, and some parts of the boss fight need tweaking in my opinion. But when it comes to gameplay, flow, and that classic Zombies feeling, this map absolutely delivers. With the final BO6 map right around the corner, I wanted to give Shattered Veil its flowers. It's one of the best maps we've gotten in this game, and I genuinely hope that Treyarch keeps building on this foundation for Black Ops 7. But hey, let me know what you guys think of Shattered Veil in the comments. If you liked this breakdown and you want to see another one of my videos, you can click on this video right here, where I tell you the real problem with COD Zombies. And contrary to the popular opinion, it's not the maps. So if you want to see that, you can click on this video right here. Thank you guys for watching.